Did you know that Amish women must never cut their hair under any circumstance? Did you also know that contrary to popular opinion, Amish women actually own tech? The Amish culture is all about keeping a traditional environment that is not infiltrated by modern technology. In fact, one of their rules is to ensure they maintain a rural lifestyle, one that will not replace face-to-face human interaction by using tech devices like smartphones or computers. After all, the main agenda of the Amish culture is to keep a simple lifestyle that avoids ways of modern life forms that could cause corruption in the community, right? Well, you will be surprised to know that Amish women do, in fact, own tech devices. Many Amish women are proud owners of both smartphones and computers, and there is a pretty good chance that they own other tech devices as well. The Amish women use their own technology to perform work duties and get tasks to be completed more effectively without feeling guilty about being trapped into the tech devices of the modern world. Their men must be vetted before dating. Dating is not easy for women in the Amish community. Amish women have to follow a lot of rules placed by the community when it comes to dating. Same as for men, they have to follow these rules too. Basically, the rules for dating in the Amish people are very different from what we're used to. When women go on dates, they have to base their dates on church activities, as per their cultural beliefs. Kissing on the first date is definitely out of the question for the Amish women. In the Amish community, a man has to be formally introduced and vetted by his future in-laws before you start dating. So any man who wants to tie down an Amish woman has to be ready to spend most of his time doing church activities and a lot of time with his possible future in-laws before being considered as a potential suitor. They sew their own wedding dresses. Most women dream of having a big wedding with lots of guests and gifts someday in their lives. For Amish women, though, this is not something you will find them obsessing over. One of the things that Amish people are known for is holding simple weddings that reflect their lifestyle. Some people believe this is actually better because simple weddings will focus on the vows and the importance of the wedding itself, rather than the material things, such as expensive dresses and decorations. In terms of the wedding dress, the Amish women are allowed to choose the color they prefer, but the style of the dress is similar to what they usually wear. They sew their own wedding dresses that they must wear 52 times every year after their wedding. Holding an Amish wedding is way cheaper and has cut most of the expenses and luxuries, such as reception, music, or dancing, something that many women prefer. They face a culture of abuse. This is one of the most depressing, dark secrets that Amish women don't want you to know. If you look at crime statistics in the Amish community, you will probably see a low rate. However, if you look into it more carefully, you will actually see the crimes within the community are not reported or are dealt with among the Amish people. One of the common issues in the Amish community is sexual abuse and rape. Surprisingly, the punishment for these crimes doesn't measure up to the offenses committed. Men will sometimes be barred from church activities for a while if they rape someone. This kind of punishment is the same as the one given to a person who's caught drinking alcohol excessively. It is heartbreaking to see the abuse that Amish women go through, as it is something no human should experience in their lives ever. In some cases, the Amish women may be threatened to be shunned from the community or told that it's God's will to stop them from seeking help from outside. Only a few cases of rape and sexual abuse have been reported to the authorities. They actually do like to party. This might come as a shocker to many, but hey, wait around to discover some more crazy things going on in the Amish community that you probably had no idea about. Back to the point. Amish women can rave it up. Many of us would never in a million years imagine that sweet, quiet, and innocent Amish woman can party and do drugs, but this is exactly what happens in the community. The Amish communities are known to hold different parties regularly, which is somewhat unexpected given the secret and quiet life that they lead. There have been claims of illicit substances being exchanged at their parties, which in most cases involve the younger Amish members, especially teenagers. So where do they get these substances? It turns out that they're purchased from gangs who happen to come to the Amish events, and in some cases, drug exchanges happen among the Amish community members. Underage drinking is quite common at Amish parties, and in some communities, hard drugs such as heroin are something of the regular. Surprised? Well, there's more. They have 4 dresses only. Amish women are assuredly not fashionistas. They wear the plainest possible dresses with no patterns and must not customize these in any way. Doing so will make them stand out and seem vain, and vanity along with pride is a big sin among the Amish. Another sin would be having too many dresses, with the vast majority of Amish women making do with only 4. One dress is a spare, another is for wash, the next is to wear, and the last is to dress. All 4 dresses must reach the calf at the minimum, and both married and single women wear dresses with aprons that are fastened with pins, with buttons being forbidden. Black shoes plus stockings are worn mostly during church services and formal occasions, with most Amish ladies foregoing those if they're puttering around the house or the farm. And most Amish women make their dresses. They are not allowed to dance. The Amish love to sing. Youths of marriageable age usually meet at dances, where they sing the most popular hymns and country songs and check out the opposite sex. Musical instruments during such occasions and at church services are limited to harmonicas. Aside from singing, dances are often held. And one thing that boggles the mind is that during these dances, youths are allowed to dance, but adults are judged to be above such youthful follies and expected not to engage in them. Baptized Amish adults, especially of the Mennonite variety, are expressly banned from dancing, and it is held to be something too worldly for them to be doing. They must serve their husbands. Inequality between husband and wife is a common thing in the Amish community. Many years back till today, women have fought hard for equality between themselves and their male counterparts. From protesting to burning clothes in public, chaining themselves to rails, and even getting killed, women have really shown some serious commitment to fight for equal treatment, same as the men. That being said, the Amish community does not value women in the same way as men. The women are subjected to a life of servitude. All she's expected to do is follow the commands of her husband and look after him as she is supposed to do. Look after the children, cook, and do all the cleaning by herself. For most of us, we see this as a slavery life, where a woman only has to do what her husband says. But Amish women look at it differently, as something that they are expected to do. Amish women have little say in their communities, and it is the responsibility of the men to make decisions. They get kicked out of the community once they break the rules of the Amish. Many Amish women don't want to admit that the community does cut ties with you once you upset them. The reality is, if for some reason you upset the Amish community to a certain degree, regardless of your position or title in the community, you will be shut off from the rest. Being shut off means you're thrown out of your family and home. For Amish women, it becomes very difficult for them when this happens because most of them don't have the skills or experience to tackle life in the outside world. Once you're kicked out, it becomes extremely hard to get back into the community. They aren't allowed to hold baby showers. Amish people generally reject the idea of materialism. This is why they don't participate in some of the same celebrations that other religious groups in America enjoy. Baby showers are forbidden for Amish women because they're seen as materialistic. This is a taboo ritual that's frowned upon in the Amish community. Other religious groups look at baby showers as a way to celebrate a friend's blessing and help them out by treating them to things the baby needs. Amish people view these celebrations a lot differently. Amish women will reject the idea of a baby shower because they believe the event draws way too much attention to themselves. Most Amish women never discuss their pregnancies. Instead, they carry on with everything as normal. They will only discuss being pregnant with their husbands and midwives. Another thing that Amish women don't want you to know is that they view gifts as handouts. They believe that they don't need acts of charity, so they may be offended if someone tries to offer them a baby shower gift. Inbreeding is widespread in the Amish community. Inbreeding happens in the Amish community, not because they have a thing for incest or anything. It's just the fact that the community is basically very small, meaning there are fewer options for dating. If you have a small pond to dip your toes into, eventually you will end up catching the same type of fish. In the Amish community, due to limited choices of spouse or who to date, most people end up marrying their own family members. It could be your cousin or some distant relative with a resulting high incidence of inherited disorders. Many of these disorders, such as Ellis Van Creveld syndrome and others, are rarely seen outside this community. Also, the Amish members don't take DNA tests to determine whether they may share some relation to the person they want to marry, because it's against their cultural beliefs. They do not like rumspringa. There comes a time when young members of the Amish community are allowed to try new experiences that will never be part of their Amish lifestyle. At the age of 17, Amish parents will let their children experience this ritual known as rumspringa. So what happens is that the young adults are encouraged to experiment with going out, drinking, partying, and interacting with technology. They're basically allowed to try out everything that the teens in the modern world tend to be involved in. After this ritual, the majority return to the community, so they don't become overly obsessed or triggered by the trappings of the modern lifestyle. The rumspringa is an experience that is aimed to show Amish teenagers what they're missing out on. However, considering that most of them, nearly 90%, return to the community when the experience is over, this shows that they are quite satisfied with their quaint and secret lifestyle. They don't go past the 8th grade. While the majority of us value education and are keen on getting higher education, in the Amish communities it is not given the same priority as we do. All the children complete school at the 8th grade. The reason behind this is that the culture believes the appropriate time for children to leave school is after this level. The Amish kids are usually educated within the society, and after school, Amish boys decide which trade they will stick to, while the girls are destined to become mothers, housekeepers, and housewives. The limited education in the community means that Amish women have a teeny tiny chance to break out and learn what's going around outside the community. Since it's already destined for Amish women to serve their husbands and raise children, to them it's not an issue, and therefore further education is considered unnecessary. The sudden end of education in the Amish people is linked to their beliefs in Christianity. They believe that they need simple minds which will help them live simple lifestyles. Higher education will bring new ideas that will be against Christian values. The unusual Amish wedding night sleepover. We all know that the most awaited part of the wedding event is when couples get a chance to have romance together on their first night alone. If you do an Amish wedding, forget about being alone with your spouse on the first night. Unlike in modern society where newlyweds prefer enjoying the night of romance in a luxurious hotel or even flying out for their honeymoon, in the Amish community, married couples have to spend their first night at the house of the bride's parents. They mistreat dogs a lot. Another dark secret that the Amish women don't want the world to know is that the Amish treat their dogs very badly and show little or no remorse toward dog mistreatment. The Amish are known for having disgusting puppy mills that are dreadful and barbaric. These puppy mills are described to have tight spaces to prevent dogs from being able to walk, and the mistreatment affects the vocal cords of dogs, causing them to stop barking. It is said that the Amish community set up puppy mills to help them generate money. Some breeders make more than $500,000 in a year just for selling these pups. You might want to rethink twice before purchasing a puppy and opt for adoption instead. They work throughout their pregnancies. Most Amish women work on the family farm. This type of labor is tiresome for most fit individuals. That's why you couldn't imagine a pregnant woman doing such heavy labor. Yet, when an Amish woman finds out that she's pregnant, the work doesn't stop. She's still expected to get her share of the labor done up until she gives birth. Anyone's been pregnant before knows how difficult it is to move around in the third trimester. Basic chores like folding laundry or emptying the dishwasher can be too much at this point. It's crazy to think that a heavily pregnant Amish woman is expected to haul a load of potatoes across the field along with many other jobs. Maternity leave isn't a thing for pregnant Amish women. Many American women use maternity leave to give their body the break that it needs. Amish women will continue working no matter how big and sore they get. Being pregnant isn't an excuse for Amish women to take it easy and lay on the sofa eating ice cream. They are not allowed to take selfies. In this era, where social media has become an important part of our lives, selfies are very common. Barely a day goes by before you bump into one of those selfies of a person sharing how their day was, or maybe an advertisement being sold. Selfies have become very common, especially for many women or girls. On the contrary, Amish women don't pose for selfies, as it's believed the photos can turn a person into an idol, something their beliefs don't agree with. Amish women are against not only selfies, but generally any photo taken of them. Moms can't teach their kids and teens about sex. Amish women are the modest type, and their main role is to take care of the home and have many children. Unfortunately, they do zero to prepare these children for puberty and the raging hormones it triggers. Yeah, they don't have the birds and the bees talk with their kids, and the word sex is never mentioned aloud. Since most Amish children lack access to the internet, they learn about sex by trading stories and watching animals do it. This contributes to perversion and sexual abuse in the Amish community, because abuse victims often cannot comprehend the gravity of what is happening to them and cannot even accurately describe it. They must not scream while giving birth. Labor pain is considered one of the worst pains that humans can experience. On top of the pain, a woman's fear is heightened. It's only natural in a situation like this to scream. However, Amish women aren't allowed to make a peep. It's strictly forbidden for the Amish to make any noise while giving birth. No whining, whimpering, moaning, or grunting, and definitely no screaming whatsoever. Why is this? Childbirth is considered a very sacred act to Amish women. Out of respect for the event, these women remain silent while giving birth. What we just told you may sound shocking, but it gets even crazier. Amish women aren't allowed to have an epidural or any other drugs while pregnant. This means that they're having a silent birth completely naturally. This is something that's unimaginable to most women. However, what this really has us thinking about is what happens if they do make a noise. And if that's not crazy enough, they can't get ultrasounds. Any expecting mother looks forward to seeing their unborn baby through an ultrasound. It's also a great way for the doctor to check on the development of the baby and detect any problems during pregnancy. Yet this is something that pregnant Amish women aren't allowed to have. There are two reasons why ultrasounds are forbidden for the Amish women. The first reason is that ultrasounds are considered a medical intervention. This is strictly forbidden during pregnancy. The other reason is that ultrasounds are a type of photograph, which is another thing frowned upon by the Amish community. Amish people are against photographs because they're considered graven images. A graven image is an object that's viewed for worship. Since Amish people don't believe in worshiping oneself, photographs are believed to be an act of vanity. It's against the rules for a woman to call attention to herself with a photograph. Even though ultrasounds are meant for health and not beauty, they are still against the rules for Amish women. It goes against their beliefs. Amish women prefer to keep their pregnancies a mystery. They don't want any clues as to what the gender is before they give birth. Their dolls are missing something. Most people don't know that Amish women have dolls. These dolls are somewhat creepy because they're missing faces. These dolls will seriously freak you out. The small faceless and creepy looking dolls are meant to represent the mini versions of Amish women. Okay, but still, why don't they have faces at all? Well, the reason's quite clear. The Amish community doesn't want to get wrapped up in the looks of a person to prevent women and young girls from becoming obsessive with vanity. The dolls have a weird meaning to keep off vanity from the Amish women. They are not allowed birth control. Amish families can be very large by American standards, 7 children on average, and that's a thing of pride to them. Children to the Amish are blessings from God and should be welcomed with glee. Amish women are encouraged to have as many children as possible who will help them around the house and the farm and who will eventually become baptized and start their own large families. Needless to say, there's nothing in the least like birth control among the Amish, with large families seen as solid evidence of the Almighty's blessing and favor. This results in Amish populations doubling every 15 to 30 years. They only give birth at home. You won't find an Amish family picking up their car and heading to a hospital to give birth. It's a long-standing tradition that Amish women give birth at home. This may not come as a surprise to you by now, since they are against medical intervention. Having an at-home birth doesn't interfere with an Amish family's beliefs. Now, if you've seen pictures of water births at home, you may be under impression that it's not the worst way to have a baby. After all, the women will be in a familiar setting that's calm and peaceful. That's not the case for Amish women. In fact, their way of at-home births will make you feel like you just went back in time a few hundred years. Amish women don't give birth into a calming water bath. Instead, they're to lay on a bed in a white nightgown. If an Amish woman does give birth in water, the midwife will boil the water on the stove. We know this sounds old-fashioned, but wait until the next part. If the birth occurs at nighttime, the room will be lit up with lanterns. This has been an Amish custom for many decades. However, modern Amish at-home births are becoming more comfortable with the mother-to-be. One of the main reasons that at-home births are still encouraged is that the mother can be close to her family and community during this time. The only time an Amish woman will give birth at the hospital is if it's an emergency. Very late pregnancies are normal. One thing a lot of people didn't know about pregnant Amish women is that they always let nature take its course. This has resulted in many late pregnancies. While late pregnancy isn't an odd occurrence for anyone, mothers that are receiving health care will have a doctor's assistance during that time. Amish women won't know if there's anything wrong with the baby since there isn't a doctor to detect it. However, this doesn't lead them to worry, and Amish women will accept a late birth on the date it comes. Many Amish babies are born mature, 2 to 3 weeks late. Even though this is normal in the Amish community, healthcare professionals advised against it. When the mother gives birth after 42 weeks of pregnancy, there is a higher chance that the baby could be stillborn. We can't say if Amish women are uneducated about the risks of late childbirth or if they're more worried about being shunned by the Amish community if they receive induced labor. A late pregnancy may have most American mothers worried, but an Amish woman will take it as it is. After all, there have been many healthy Amish babies born later throughout the decades. That could be a big reason why Amish women don't seem upset or worried about their natural approach to childbirth. They can't discuss being pregnant. If you were ever to meet an Amish woman who's expecting, she would give you the impression that she could care less about her unborn baby. That's not what it's really like, though. In fact, the Amish woman is probably overjoyed about her new baby. The thing is, she's been raised never to speak about it. Amish women never discuss their pregnancies. The only people that it's acceptable to speak to about being pregnant are their husbands and midwife. Other than that, she is to continue on with her day like nothing is out of the ordinary. You will never hear an Amish woman discuss changes in her body that have occurred since being pregnant, her plans on what to name the child, or what color she's going to paint the nursery. All baby and pregnancy talk is off limits. At the same time, Amish women don't talk about each other being pregnant. Since they don't wear tight or revealing clothes, it's not always noticeable if a woman is pregnant.